Happy New Year 2024 and welcome back to the Sober Sex Sofa. My name is Shanti Patty Owen and I am your host for this channel where we discuss sobriety, sex, and mental health. I am a sex addict, love addict, an alcoholic, a compulsive gambler, and a debtor. First, I want to let you all know that Santa Claus gave me COVID for Christmas. And I'm over it now, but I still have some residual congestion, so I might not sound my normal self. And also, I got some new glasses for the new year. They are not quite as nerdy as my other glasses. I would say they're maybe nerdy light. I'm still trying to get used to this because I really do love my other nerdy glasses. It doesn't mean that they have to go away forever, but I'm trying them out. Okay. It was not my original intention to make my first video of the new year about Matthew Perry. However, since the toxicology reports have come out and I've seen a lot of derogatory conversations about him, I want to set the record straight. So the topic of this video is Matthew Perry. May he rest in peace. So I'm going to talk about Matthew Perry in two parts. One, his addiction issues and his sobriety journey. And part two, his sober companions and or his support network. First of all, addiction issues, some people hit such a terrible bottom, they get sober on the first try. This is not usually the norm. And it was definitely not the norm for Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry was in several rehabs. So he has been struggling with addiction issues his whole life. And it's really easy for people to point the finger and say, oh, he wasn't sober when he died. He even alluded to the fact that he wrote this memoir because he had a period of sobriety and he wanted to profit from it. I know I'm paraphrasing. I think he knew he was going to continually dance in this addiction cycle, off and on, sobriety, addiction. And I think the great legacy that he's leaving us is what he said. He did not want to be remembered as being a character on Friends. He wanted to be remembered for helping people with their addiction issues. And strange as it might seem, sometimes the people who help us the most are the people who have fallen the most. I know that I go to several 12-step programs per week, and I'm constantly hearing people who went out. They were clean and sober, and after several years, they went out. So it's not a guarantee just because you get sober that you're going to stay sober. And clearly that was Matthew Perry's pattern. Now, I want to introduce an idea that's different than addiction, because I know there's a lot of judgment around addiction. If somebody was married for 30 or 40 years and they decided they wanted to go their separate ways, the kids were grown, graduated college, their kids have their own children, and they just decided that they want to go in different directions. Now, you wouldn't say that that was a 30 or 40-year marriage that was unsuccessful because they didn't stay together forever, right? So the same holds true for addiction issues. Just because Matthew Perry was found with ketamine in his system, in his stomach, basically, which meant that he was taking illegal ketamine, not the infusions that his psychiatrist prescribed. So you could say, oh, his journey was for naught. But no, he wrote this amazing memoir about his struggles, and he is going to help so many people struggling. I have a very dear friend of mine from the 80s. He was a Matthew Perry. Man, did he relapse. God, a ton. And now he's been sober for 5 years. I'm so proud of him. We're very, very close. So I would request that people who do not have addiction issues to just kind of pull back and perhaps hang up your judgment, because it's a really hard journey. And Matthew was a fighter, and in the end, he lost the fight. Okay, so part two is about his sober companions, Matthew Perry's sober companions, and his support system. The first thing I want to say about this is that I have worked with several celebrities, and I know firsthand how challenging it is to keep them sober because they have ample money, but they also have lots of groupies that want to help them. It's not easy. I'm going to tell you something. It is so much easier for somebody who's anonymous to get sober than for somebody who's famous because they're scrutinized. Everything is scrutinized. I don't know who his sober companions were. I am not judging them. I lost 2 clients, not on my watch, but several months after I stopped working with them. It happens, and it's really sad, and it doesn't mean that they didn't do a good job. Basically, unless you're shadowing somebody 24/7, which means you're sleeping in their bed and following them into the bathroom, you cannot guarantee that they're not going to use again. I personally work with an agency and or minimally, I work with a case manager. I don't know if these sober companions had agents, if they had case managers, but I would never work without one because there's life and death issues going on here. And, sometimes I'm just at a complete conundrum and I'm like, oh my God, what do we do here? And to have somebody else in the field who's a professional for us to bounce ideas off each other is crucial. So please don't throw all sober companions under the bus. Thank you very much. We work really hard at what we do. We love what we do. And we make great personal sacrifices in our life to live with people 24/7 to support their sobriety. So, on that note, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. And as promised, I did say I was going to start talking about sex, having a little more fun conversations, and we're going to talk about mental health. Believe it or not, I think mental health doesn't always have to be a downer, especially the solutions. So, welcome back, everybody. And I have a request for the new year. My request is that you subscribe to this YouTube channel, The Sober Sex Sofa, so that I can keep making these videos for you all, because it gives me great pleasure to open up this conversation to a larger audience, not just with the people that I'm working with on a day-to-day basis. The more subscribers I get, the more that I'm able to make these videos and reach everybody. So, thumbs up to all my videos, subscribe. And if you want to send me an email, don't forget, it's sobersexsofa@gmail.com. sobersexsofa@gmail.com. Grateful, grateful, grateful. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Because guess what we're doing next week? We're talking about sex, baby. We're talking about you and me. We're talking about sex. Bye, everybody.